You may be curious about when to switch to a toddler bed as your child grows and can climb out without assistance. Toddler beds are safer and significantly comfortable for your child. The toddler may also sleep more soundly in the bed than they have of late in the crib. Some toddlers may remain accustomed to their crib, and the shift to a toddler bed may come across as a challenge. The key concern in parents' minds is to understand when to transition to toddler bed and how to make it as smooth as possible. Let's start with a more fundamental question about when to move to a toddler bed. At what age can you switch your baby to a toddler bed? Ideally, transitioning your toddler from a crib to a bed should happen between 18 months and 4 years of age. The closer they are to 3 years, the better. Although this is regarded as the ideal age to make the transition to a toddler bed, remember that each child is unique, and the right time for them to make the switch to a toddler bed varies on several other factors. When to switch to a toddler bed? 1. Your toddler is outgrowing the crib. If your toddler seems to be growing a couple of inches every few weeks, check if they still fit into their crib. If your toddler's head and feet touch or are inching closer to the ends of the crib, it is definitely time to make a transition to a big girl or big boy bed. Toddlers may outgrow sooner if you have a mini crib, which is smaller than the regular-sized ones. So be prepared and get them a comfortable and larger bed sooner than expected. 2. They are climbing out of the crib. If your toddler is making attempts to climb out of the crib, getting a toddler bed is not your only option. You can try lowering the mattress as low as it can go. With some cribs, the mattress can be lowered almost to floor level. This will buy you some time to get your toddler's new bed ready. But if you still find them climbing out, switch them into a safer bed sooner. 3. They are potty training. Both potty training and transition to a toddler bed are milestones in a child's development. Therefore, doing them simultaneously may overwhelm children and cause regression, delaying both milestones. It is difficult and unsafe for a toddler to climb out of bed at night whenever nature calls. So if you are training your toddler to use the bathroom by themselves, it's a good idea to move to a toddler bed first. Pediatricians say, if your child is almost potty trained, it's best to prioritize transitioning them out of diapers before moving them into their new bed. On the other hand, if your child is not close to being potty trained, consider transitioning them into a toddler bed first. This will provide them with the extra space and independence needed for successful potty training. 4. They are okay being unsupervised. Potty training implies that you are training your child to become more independent. But do you feel safe with the thought of your child waking up in the middle of the night and being unattended with their own devices? If not, let them continue sleeping in the crib for a bit longer. Ensure that the house is child-proofed at every hinge and turn, and have a baby or child alarm that lets you know when the child tries to get out of the crib. You can switch them to a toddler bed when you are comfortable with the idea of them waking up and using the toilet on their own. 5. They can understand imaginary boundaries. Cribs have rails, which are very clear boundaries. Check to see if your child is able to sense and understand imaginary boundaries. You could play a little game to see if your toddler is aware of the space and boundaries around them. You can also put them in the bed next to you and plop up some pillows around just to see how much they are moving around in their sleep. Make sure that you are always around when your baby is asleep on your bed with the pillows. If you find them having a safe sleep, you could experiment with a toddler's bed. But if the child is jumping out occasionally, they are not yet ready for a toddler bed. Rushing toddlers into the sleep transition before they know their boundaries will spoil their sleep and yours. 6. They are asking for their own bed. Your toddler may look at their older brother or sister and ask you for their own big bed. They may even take a dislike to their crib. If your child is able to verbalize a complex thought, such as wanting a bigger bed, they are probably ready for the change and well aware of their imaginary boundaries. However, don't forget to take safety measures and be cautious. 7. There's another baby on the way. This is only relevant if your child is at least 18 months or older, any younger than this, and it's not generally recommended to transition to a toddler bed. But if you know you have another bundle of joy on the way, buying another crib might not be realistic, and it makes a perfect excuse for transitioning your child to a toddler bed. However, be careful to make sure you aren't giving your toddler the impression that they're being replaced by another. Begin transitioning at least a month or two before the new baby arrives. Make it exciting that they get to be the big sister or big brother with a big kid bed. Tips and tricks for making the switch. So what can you do to make the transition from a crib to a toddler bed easier? Consider the bed. You want a bed that's low to the ground to prevent injuries if you have an active sleeper. Some parents simply place their crib mattress on the floor as part of the transition. Others buy a toddler bed, and many parents use convertible cribs that are ideal for a range of reasons. In addition to being economical, these crib-to-bed options also maintain a sense of familiarity for your toddler, as usually all that's needed to make the switch is to remove the front panel. Encourage toddler bed nap times. If bedtime is a showdown, try to ease the transition by having your toddler take naps in their new bed. This will help them understand that this is where they sleep and minimize the struggle to get them back into the new bed at bedtime. Keep routines consistent. If your toddler always went to bed at 9 p.m. before, you need to keep this routine going. Any kind of change from the norm can be unsettling for children. So try to keep everything else in their life as consistent as possible. That includes your usual bedtime rituals like taking a bath, drinking some milk, or having story time. Let your toddler pick their lovies. You want their bed to be as welcoming as possible, and that includes their favorite stuffed animals that make them feel safe. Let them decide which of their favorite plushies gets the honor of hanging in the bed with them. Be empathetic and tell stories. Although it may seem like children want to grow up and behave like adults, reality may vary. After all, they are kids. Be empathetic with your toddler while they transition to sleeping on the new bed. Tell them instances from your own experiences and how you adapted to the change when you were a child. Children love stories and learn easily from them. Read to your toddlers about others who have made a happy transition from the crib. You can find plenty of stories and books online. Safety tips for switching to a toddler bed. Now that your child technically has free reign of the house, you'll need to crack down on child-proofing your home if you haven't already. This means installing safety gates at the top and bottom of the stairs, locking all doors and windows, anchoring all furniture that could topple over, and latching all drawers and medicine cabinets. Make sure the bed is positioned away from windows. This prevents an unwanted draft in the room, and of course ensures your child won't be tempted to climb out the window. So that was all for today's video. We hope you liked the video, and our tips will help you in your parenting. For more videos like this, do subscribe to our channel and please leave a like to show us that our tips help you. See you next time.